ahead.
Okay. My name is Musonda. This is my wife, Nana. We've been married 20 years this year. We clocked 20 years in March. We have 4 children. We're Christians, of course, believers. Yeah.
At a concert. Yeah, at a concert at Edinburgh Hotel. I used to go to the Anglican Church, and for the first time, the Anglican Church, we had the movement of the Pentecostal side, and we belonged to a choir called the Whosoever Team. And I remember we went to this concert, and and the first things when I saw him, I was like, wow, who is that? But it just ended there. Trust me. It just the wow ended there. Yeah. I sing, and he plays the keyboard. I used to play the keyboard. Well, he belonged to Fountain of Praise, which was from UCZ, and we had like a different choirs singing at that particular time, and he was playing the keyboard, and I was like, wow, that's a face I've never seen. It's kind of cute. Yeah. So it ended there.
So when I saw her, I didn't think she noticed me. I saw her. She was wearing some lime green dress, I think, if I can remember. That's the earliest memory I have of her. So she was singing, and I didn't speak to her, but that's the first, I think it's the earliest memory I have of her.
You thought?
Mm-hmm. We'll talk. Back then, the youth movement, if you can call it that, was quite strong. So it didn't really matter what church you belonged to, whether you were Catholic, UCZ, or wherever. So whenever there was a concert or a conference, we youth would gather together, and we became friends in our groups of friends. So we were friends amongst friends. So we didn't I can't even remember how we started talking as individuals, but her friends and my friends were friends. So we were just making noise and partying all the time. So it was like a group of friends, and believers getting to know each other. And so it wasn't like we started talking to one another or one-on-one. That came way many years later.
So I've actually known him for 31 years. Yeah, 31 years. So we're married for 20 years, but in Gakukonka, we actually
knew each other for a long time.
We knew each other for a long time. A long time. I mean, I knew who he was dating. He knew who I was dating. Yeah.
It was like that. She was dating someone else, I was dating someone else. Yes, I remember. Years had gone by. I think we had stopped meeting one another. I went to college. I don't know where she went. I met her. I can't remember what day it was. I met her in town. She was running a shop in town, and her mother, I think, had just passed, and I hadn't seen her in a long time. So I accidentally met her, and I asked her, "Hey, how have you been? Long time?" And it was so exciting. And then she told me, Mom died, and I said, "Oh, so sorry." So we started catching up. I escorted her home, and apparently she was staying near where I was staying. So that's how we started the conversation. Years later, we kind of reconnected, and that's how we started.
I remember he was my rebound. Yeah. I'd just broken up from a long time relationship, which was a bit really heartbreaking, and I remember he was actually coming from Radio Christian Boys, Fountain of Praise, were having a recording, and he was in Lusaka. And I remember a friend of ours, I was with a friend of ours, Andrew, and he says, "Let's call Chitundi," and I'm like, "Yeah, we should call him." So we called him, and he was like, "We got people in Pangan," and I was like, "Yeah." So, I mean, that's how we got to see each other. But he nursed me through my heartbreak, and he won my heart.
And it was not, I had decided somehow I wasn't really interested in a relationship. I think I was more focused on ministry. I was doing music, and it was fulfilling. I was working at the time, and my heart was set on serving the Lord. I wasn't really looking for a relationship at the time. I think I'd given up. I just let me just focus on the Lord when I met her. So at the time I was talking to her. I was just comforting her as a friend, and catching up, because we had a lot to catch up on. We hadn't talked in years. So that's how we started cementing the relationship, if you like.
Well, you see, with the rebound, he didn't force himself on me. I think, like he said, I had made up my mind that I wouldn't want to get into another relationship, because truly I was set for life. Like you said, I was a business lady. I owned my own business, and I told myself, if I could get heartbroken in a Christian setting, what's the difference between a secular relationship and a Christian relationship? And I told myself, you know what? I think I've had enough. I think let me focus on God, and me focus on what I have, and considering age factor as well. So I told myself, I think there comes a time when you've just had enough of heartbreak in your relationship. So I decided to go that way. And when it happened, we didn't force each other on each other. It was a smooth ride, you see. And even when he asked me, he never used words like, can I go out with you? The first thing he says, listen, if I say that I wanted to go out with you, I think I'll be using you. So I said, what the hell? Why would you tell me something like that? I don't even want to be in a relationship with you, So at one point, my heart, missed a bit and said, does he think I want to be in a relationship with him? And then the next word that follows, he says, because I want to marry you. I was like, wow, I actually laughed myself away from that, because I didn't see myself in a relationship after that. Yeah.
And she didn't answer. She asked 3 times. And the last time was the last time. I'm not going to ask again. She stalled. She kept on stalling for whatever reason. I didn't have to pretend. I was free. I almost said, the way I relate with my sister, where, at home, where the person knows you don't have to pretend. She was a friend like that. I didn't have to pretend. She would laugh at my jokes. I would laugh at hers. We enjoyed the same stuff. We both loved good music. We were both loud when amongst our friends, of course. I'm quite quiet, but amongst our friends, very loud. She's outgoing. She's honest. Has a big heart. I just felt comfortable around her. I didn't have to pretend. I didn't have, that thing where you're going out with the lady and you have to pretend you're someone you're not. There was nothing like that. I was just me, and I'm still me.
We used to eat cassava today and buy Maxco on the way. That was real, We never used to get on cabs, taxis, whatever. We used to walk. I think we played it real. I remember even our dating instance where when he was at school here at Zikas, I would get on a bus, always come, and I remember our income wasn't too good that time. We'd actually share a plate at what was that called? Food fair. Yeah, we'd share a portion where it's just 2 pieces of chicken and a portion of chips. And we'd share that, and then the little rolls, and going back. Yeah, I'll come for actually chicken and chips. Yeah, would you believe it? Yeah.
She's the extrovert. Extreme, reloaded, Pro Max extrovert. I'm an introvert. I've somehow learned I'm still learning to come out of it. I'm much better. Years ago I would never agree to something like this. No. But she's the extrovert. Yeah.
Okay. Funny enough, to be honest with you, even when he did ask me, I knew he was the one. I knew he was the one from the beginning, because he gave me a sense of peace. I mean, I could explore myself and say what I wanted to say and speak my mind and shout my mind. And like I always say, bring out the colored part of me. And he would always laugh his head out, And it was just real. I knew he was the one because he was my friend. He didn't have to pretend. When he was broke, I knew he was broke. When he needed a pair of shoe, I knew he needed a pair of shoe. There was no pretense from the beginning. Our foundation was perfect. There was no pretense. I knew he was the one. He was real. He was so real. So I knew he was the one. And the reason why I took like 3 askings, because I wanted to be sure. I wanted to be sure that, not that I didn't know it, but I just wanted, when you go through this relationship, 1, 2, and this is a Christian circle, and you will say, God, the next time I say, yes, I really want to be, go through this. You know how it is when, usually when you're in a relationship, the first people you tell are your family members. So, I mean, how many people am I going to introduce to my family? Yeah, so the 3rd time when he says, I'm not Jesus, was denied 3 times. So if you don't answer me now, hey, with me, I was saying, but He says, no, I don't know. I said, okay, I'll marry you. Yeah. So, yeah.
Talk about it.
We used to go to Maranatha. At one point, we all ended up with Maranatha under Bishop Skypander. And our church policy is... when you're in a relationship, go to Bishop. And I did that. And, when I went to Bishop and I was like, I met somebody and he wants to marry me. He asked me who he was. And he instantly approved of it. And I was like, wow. He comes from a good family. I know the family background. And, okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to announce in church. So I think our first announcement was in church. Yeah. Yeah, we have that announcement in church and then in church. Yeah, and then the funny part about it is that we came, I think the Diwali was on, or was there some fireworks display on, and we were watching it. And then we were watching, and from behind he gives me my hands are behind his, and he puts on a ring. So I said, who does that? You go in front and you kneel down. You don't give your ring from behind, You give me a ring from in front,
You wanted me to kneel down and say, man.
That's what everybody does. I mean, let's see it in the movies.
No.
Yeah. So that's how it happened.
It's one thing to propose, to tell somebody I love you and I want to marry you. But as she was talking, I'm just thinking the process thereafter, it's really scary, because then you have to announce to your parents, you have to announce to the family and the church, and it becomes a huge thing. And say, what am I doing? You know what I mean? But it was exciting. It's an exciting journey. When you're serious and you know what you want, things begin to unfold, and God has your way. Of course, it's not easy. A lot of frustrations along the way, but it's part of what makes you stronger as a couple. She loves jewelry. She had lots of rings, lots of neck chains, all that. So I'd been asking. I'd known. I took some rings, tried them on. So and her sister also. So it was easy to find a ring size.
You can let yourself never have a wedding again. All the stress of I used to do events at that particular time, and all the stress of somebody else making you flowers and you not knowing how they're going to come out, and you knowing how you'd want your wedding. I think the day before our wedding, we're actually doing the backdrop with him. Yes, because we wanted the backdrop done in a particular way. So in terms of stress, in terms of preparation, our family really came through. My mother-in-law at that particular time used to also deal with flowers. So her florist came through, and my aunt was a chef. She's retired. Did the cooking. Our family really came through for us. Yeah. So in terms of preparation or planning, I was a planner. So yeah, the stress wasn't really. When I say I wouldn't want to get married again, it's all the tradition parts of certain things contradicting your faith. Yeah. No. I mean, I had my late aunt plan this wedding. I think when she heard I was getting married, she got so excited. And she already picked the dress from somebody who she saw the dress from. Yeah, I got my first dress, yes. So, and they were actually similar. So yeah, so I had family, like I said, who were so excited. My mom is late, so her siblings were really excited when I mentioned that I was getting married. They started planning it. This was like their wedding. Yeah.
Can I mention that we had a little funny stories, the outfits for the wedding. That was a crazy story. I don't know if it still happens now, where you have an outfit for the church and an outfit for the reception. So we had that as well. And the outfits for the groomsmen came the following day. So that was a funny story, a funny part of what happened. But it was really stressful, because when you're planning an event, it doesn't always go according to how you plan it. And I think that's where she's coming from when she says, I wouldn't do that again. Because what you picture and what actually happens is not there. But looking back at it, it was a fun life-changing experience. We got to know some of our family members in ways we didn't know. The short tempers, the people, the unifiers, the people who stood for us, who made it happen for us. So it's an experience worth telling.
Yeah, and then it rained.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so the church service was supposed to start at 10. Ended up starting at 16 hours. And yeah, it was around 16. We got married around 16.
Rained.
And then my mom's brother spread a stupid rumor that my dress couldn't fit. So that's the reason why I wasn't turning up. And like every bride, and I'm looking at time and I know the law says that you can't get married at 18 hours. I'm looking at this rain and everybody's saying, so what do we do? And we're busy deciding, in the midst of it, or can I just walk through with this dress? And my dress was really beautiful. It was really, oh my God, it would have really got dirty. So I looked out of the window and I said, I'm speaking to this mountain. And I'm asking to move. And people laughed, right? But trust me, within less than a minute, this is how God works. The rain stopped. And I said, yeah, now who serves the living God? Yeah, so we've got those testimonies of rain. And I said, no, I'm speaking to this mountain. This is a limp of faith. Stop, yeah. But I thank God that Bishop Skybanda was patient. He really was. And he understood.
That was really patience.
Yeah.
I was in church and I hadn't slept the previous night. I had a terrible headache because we had been at the tailors the whole night trying to get the groomsmen's outfits. Apparently, she'll tell her story. She hadn't slept as well. So I had a terrible headache, but when I turned around and saw her coming, I felt like, what am I doing? I was like, this is really happening. I mean, I was excited, of course, but then you're getting married for the first time. You don't know what to expect. You're a young guy. It was exciting, but scary at the same time. Yeah.
Walking down the aisle, when I looked at him, I just told myself, God, I'm trusting this man with my life, And I felt a sense of joy, of peace. I think at one point I almost broke down because that's when I thought of, wow, my mom is the one who said that you two are going to get married. I mean, she's the one who says, the way you two look at each other and talk to each other, when this guy comes, I see something. I was like, Mom, you're just exaggerating. He's just my friend, So at that particular point, I just thought to myself, wow, I wish she was here to see this whole thing happening. Yeah. And especially her twin was giving me away. It really... Yeah, but when I looked at him, I was like, I'm trusting, and there's no turning back, and that we were told, once you say I do, there was no turning back. And I had to make sure that it was never going to happen. I picked it myself, and I always told myself that once I say I do, there's no going out. Yes, whatever rubbish it comes with, I take. Yeah, and then, I mean, only after you get married, you realize that
What's the rubbish?
there's a lot of rubbish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are friends. She's my best friend. We fight, we joke, we play, we enjoy life. And by fight, I'm not meaning physical fighting. I mean we're fighting here. We do life together. We agree, we disagree, we allow each other space. I think
And we're real.
And we're real, yeah.
Yeah,
we,
we're
we
real.
allow the grace of God to work in our lives. You know, it's kind of easy to say, but we can't move God out of the equation. If you look back and see the things that we've gone through and managed to conquer, it's only the grace of God. It's only the Bible says, submit yourself to one another. Before it says, wife, submit to your own husbands. It's a question of submitting to one another. It's a question of knowing who you are and whose you are, and respecting that you are accountable first to God before you are to one another. And so everything that you do, all your decisions, your thoughts, your words, are being looked at by the Master. And so because of that, it has kept us going. You have the fear of God in you. And I think that has been our guiding factor, the main guiding factor. Yeah.
You know, it's kind of hard to talk about resolving conflicts, because remember, at the end of the day, if you're going to get married, remember that you're getting married to your friend, right? And here there is no such thing as I'm going to win this argument. So a lot of times, even when you're right, you bend for the sake of your partner. And there are times when I am right, and just for the sake of not demeaning him, I will go down, because sometimes, remember, you're right in the sight of, you are right, you're right, but remember, at the end of the day, he's the head. And if you've got children here involved and you don't want the children to look down at the father, you bend. Yeah, so sometimes resolving, I just decide not to win. And I just decided, listen, this guy is my friend. He's my partner. He's the love of my life. So, I mean, if he wins an argument, I won't get hurt. I mean, yeah, at times after it happens and deep down my heart, I just laugh and say, I told you so. I told you so. Yeah. Yeah.
And on the husband side, there's a scripture which always challenges me, which is, husbands, love your wife as Christ loved the church. That's an example that is always challenging. I'm thinking, okay, how many times has Christ forgiven me? How many times has he given me another chance? And that's what carries me through. Whenever I'm really upset, and I say, what would Christ do? What would he? It's not always as easy, but that scripture always carries me through, always challenges me. It's husband life. If for God to say that, it means I'm able to do it. And so what's my excuse?
Mind you, in all our marriage, my husband has never slapped. He has never hit me. We've never had an argument in the house, or we don't shout. We've got a rule in our house. If we're going to shout, it must be a fire.
It must be a fire.
Our children have never ever heard us exchange, words shouting from the bedroom to the kitchen to whatever. It's never happened. So when we hear a lot of people go through that, we kind of find it strange, because you remember, your home is your safe zone, and this is your friend that you're talking, you are hanging around with or being with. This is somebody you're with every day. So how do you get to that point of hey, and we don't go through that. We have never gone through that. So even when we're counseling people, we always tell them, listen, if you're going to raise your voice, raise it when there's a fire, because I'm talking to him, and trust me, when we're arguing, this is the way we talk. This is the way we talk, and he's there and there. And I do have a temper. Like I said, I bring up the colored side of me. And because of we are not fighting, we're talking. I mean, if you want me to understand, talk to me. I will understand. I am a person. I will reason. He's a loving person. And the second one, I think he always puts me before himself. Yeah, that's one of the things that. And the third part, oh my God, he makes me fly. In terms of my vision, he's my support system. I'm a chef. And whenever I make these little small experiments that I see and I think about in my head, he gives me his honest opinion. And when he does love it, oh my God, you could see the smile on his face. Yeah. So those are the three things that I really love. And he's a good father. He's a good husband. I think there's so many things I love about him. Yeah.
Oh, she's got a big heart. I don't think I know anyone who is as forgiving as this lady right here. The stuff that she's gone through in life, and she's still able to speak to some of the people who have hurt her and relate to them normally. I always ask myself, okay. And it upsets me sometimes. This person is the same person who hurt you last time, and you're going back again. So things like that. She loves cooking. I love eating. She allows me to be me. She
plays the keyboard when I'm sleeping. Yeah.
She allows me to be me. She encourages me in a way. Look, even when I'm doubting myself, and even though I know in my heart that okay, I probably can't do this. She gets up and gives me Chimuela. No, you can do this. She's my like she says, she's my number one fan. Yeah, mother of our babies.
Hey, I love you is an everyday word in our home. And words that I love, I think I love my morning kiss. I get that too. I mean, with bad breath or no bad breath, I get my morning kiss. I mean, the first thing he does is he pushes you over, and he's like he's fighting with you, just to give you the morning kiss. And then when he's walking out, going to work, gives you another kiss. Yeah, I think the words that I really love, I love assurance, and he gives it to me. The word I love you is constantly out of his mouth. Yeah. So, and yeah, I love you.
Love you too.
Don't kiss me. Yeah.
I miss you. Yeah, I miss you. Especially when I'm out traveling for work, for instance. That looks good. Or when I do something and she acknowledges it, and or I fix something about in the house, or
yeah, that's a wow. That's a wow. That's a plus. It's a plus. He's a busy person.
And I like it when she appreciates when I escort her shopping. I hate shopping. I hate it with a passion. And she knows I hate it.
And I love taking.
But when I do, and I can see, and she gets me a lunch bar, a form of appreciation. I love that.
It's a bribe.
Bribe, which comes afterwards, okay?
It's a bribe.
But now it's expected.
No, that changed. Honesty. And I always say to foundation, people are getting into marriage with the wrong conception of marriage. First of all, your foundation. Are you basing your foundation of marriage on finances? Or is it true love? Or is it factuation? Or is it an idea of what I think marriage is? And when you get into the marriage, you get back and say, this is not what I thought marriage was, because you've got this preconceived thing of a marriage should be this, a marriage should be that. And you've got this fairy tale from TV saying that marriage is that. A marriage is this fairy tale. And when you get into a home, getting to understand the true character of your partner and you not wanting to bend, I feel is partly what is breaking a home, because you get a woman, like I say, a woman is to submit to her husband. A woman is supposed to be a Proverbs 31 woman. And what does a Proverbs 31 woman do? She carries a home, right? Remember, at the end of the day, if you go to, is it Proverbs 12 verse 6, where it says, a woman wears the crown of her husband, So remember, you're looking after your husband. You are supposed to prepare a meal. When he gets home, I mean, this is the meal prepared. You're supposed to run the house, And most people don't think that. They think that if I get married, I mean, this is who I am. Not forgetting that the role that you're supposed to take is supposed to be your husband's helper, your husband's mate. And you find that women get carried away, even men get carried away, forgetting their role to be the provider. Oh, because she makes more money, then why should I provide for the home? So there's just so much wrangle among the people that are getting married now. I won't provide because she's making more money, or I am making more money than him. Why should I submit to him? So yeah, just that.
And also, some people go in to marriage with a plan B. There isn't any plan B. There shouldn't be any plan B. When you say till death do us part,
Yes,
it's just that. There's no option. And so we should be going into a marriage as this is it. And I remember sitting down with my father's late best friend. When I told my father that I wanted to get married, he sent me to him, and I was sitting at the breakfast table, and he says, "No, eat." And I couldn't eat because I was being interviewed. I was being asked, "Why do you want to get married?" and all that. And he told me, he said, "Are you sure?" He asked me several questions. Have you seen the family? Have you seen the way they look? That's probably how your wife will be looking, because she was slim that time. She's put on a bit of weight now. Things like that. And then the age difference. He said, no, people normally want a 10-year age gap between a husband and wife, but for us there's like 3 years. So things like that. And he told me, but once you say I do, there's no turning back. And I was way head over heels in love. Whatever he was going to tell me, I was not going to listen to. But now I remember those words, and what he said is coming to pass, because once you choose, you have chosen. Another, I think it was Bishop Ngambi who said, when you're in a marriage, you're not in as enemies. You are on the same team, but you find that in a marriage, we take it like mine and yours. There is no mine and yours. Everything is ours. Whether it's the home, it's ours. Whether it's money, it's ours. Whatever it is about the home is ours. And so those are the things that people aspiring to marriage should be looking at. There's no me and there's no you. It's a we and it's an ours.
I remember my late grandmother, when we got married, gave me words of wisdom. Her last words to me were "Bata makumbo." In Shona, that means katamolo. Don't move around. In simple, she's saying that your single life now you can't do, because remember, I had always been this independent person. I lost my mom when she was about 21, and I lived alone, and I was this independent person. So she's trying to tell me now, this traveling that you're always traveling out of the country and coming back, traveling out of the country, you should realize that now you sit in one place now, because now you belong to somebody else. And I think those were words of wisdom, because every time I'd want to just get up and go and say, and I'd always remind myself that, listen, if he says no, he's got the right to say no. And despite me not liking it, I would have to submit, because remember, that's the authority he has over me. Yes.
Two lessons learned. There are many lessons learned. Your friend, your partner is not your enemy. When she decides on something for the home, whether it seems wrong or right to me, it's not because she wanted to hurt me, but because she did what she thought was best. And so always trust that your partner has your best interest at heart. And sometimes we react not knowing where it was coming from, and you end up being foolish because your partner actually had good intentions, but maybe it just didn't work out the way it was intended to work out. So that's one lesson.
I learned, well, there's no me, there's us. So even in finances, there's us. There's no secrets. So everything has to be transparent. Everything has to be laid out. Actually, we're following biblical point of view where it says naked shall become, So everything has to be naked before one another. Yeah.
Mm.
18th May.
12th November. Has it ever not been celebrated?
Well, I love celebrating his. Our bishop, our church, always says that there's a class at Mount Zion called Salt, and Bishop City takes it. And he there's one thing that he mentioned in one of our classes. He says, listen, if you going to celebrate somebody, celebrate it big. And he always says, learn to celebrate one another. Life is too short. Because remember, God always says, God doesn't promise anyone tomorrow. So, when I have the opportunity to celebrate, oh, wow. I celebrate it.
Yeah, I'm not too big on those.
He doesn't like parties. He doesn't. With a passion, he doesn't. But I always make sure he has one. Yeah, how will you remember me if I go before you?
Wait, November's gone.
But trust me, I don't like him.
She doesn't want me to hold big things for her, but she wants to hold big. But she's the extrovert. Does that make sense?
I want something personal. Personal.
That's what I want, but I don't get it.
Take me to Dubai. Hey, for a few. Yeah. There's no how far.
How far is too far when it comes to opening up to your partner?
Too far.
Yes. There shouldn't be a limit, should there?
No. Even when our family tell us, don't tell him, we tell. Yes, because this is. Remember, I need you people to understand something. This is my safe zone.
Yeah.
This is me. This is where I vent. This is the shoulder that holds me when I cry. And I feel that a lot of people die with depression because they hide so many things. I want to be free. I want to be able to fly in my marriage. I don't think marriage should be something that should hold you back. Just because your marriage, now I'm being held back. No. I feel that an addition of him in my life should actually be better for me to spread, So for me to take him or have him as a partner, it means it's a +1. If I knew that it wasn't going to make any sense in my life, why would I have him? Yeah.
I'm wondering. I'm trying to think of the only time I'm thinking of withholding information is I'm having a surprise birthday or something. Something maybe a delayed information sharing, but not to hold something permanent. I don't think. She's my bestie. How would I tell then if I don't tell her?
Yeah. There are times when people tell me, oh, can you please not tell? They say, okay, would you feel okay if I told my husband, Because it's something that chokes you, you know what I mean? Especially when it's a matter of life or death or a secrecy that would one day come out and they'll say, but your wife knew. These things flip on you. They say, but your wife knew, and they'll be like, but honey, you kept this from me. They'll be like, but I was told not to, but you kept it from me, So yeah, we've always told ourselves this is a no secret zone. Even our kids say, but mom, you mean you don't have secrets? You cannot tell dad. And I said, no, I have to tell you. Yes.
The worst case is, okay, if you don't want me to tell her, you tell her yourself.
Yeah, especially with our kids. So you tell her. Well, cheating on your partner, is that in marriage or not in marriage? Remember, we are dealing on 2 parts. Are you a believer or you're not a believer? As a believer, we believe in transfer of spirits. So when you're talking about cheating, were you intimate? with the person. If you are intimate with the person, or whether you are not, I feel your partner needs to know. Because the reason for you to cheat on your partner is because there's a lack in that area. Why would you cheat on your partner? Why? Because there's usually a lack. There's always a gap. If there's no gap, then why cheat? Some people it's a habit. Some people it's generational. So you find some people it's because their parents did it, or their parents did it, and they feel that it's a normal. That's why in our home, this that you're seeing is very real. In the house, we are affectionate, we kiss each other, the children, everything, mom and dad, get a bedroom, go to the room or whatever. Because we teach our children that it's all right to kiss your spouse. It's all right to hold your partner. It's all right for daddy to wash plates. It's all right. It's okay. So in your home, if your children get to see that cheating in your relationship is normal, remember they will do it in their home as well, because they say, if dad could do it, even I can do it. Yes, so it's I feel no, your spouse needs to know. Yes, there will be a bit of distrust in your home, but we'll get over it.
Personally, I like simplicity. I don't like complications. Now, imagine you have a secret like that. It means it's a burden you don't want to carry. Whatever you do, you have to be careful not to say. If something comes out, you have to start covering up. And the word says, the truth shall set you free. It might even end the relationship. It's possible. But you would have been free as an individual. You can't live life walking with that heavy burden. I don't think we're meant to carry stuff like that. God didn't design us like that. And keeping that is still cheating. You've cheated. You might as well come clean and risk everything than continue cheating, because you the fact that you haven't said anything means you're still living a lie. And I don't think I would love to live like that. I think it's too burdensome for me.
I imagine a scenario of where you and your spouse have gone out for dinner or gone somewhere, and somebody comes up and tells your wife, hi, how are you? I'm so and so, or maybe a friend of hers, and comes and says, do you know that your husband was cheating on you? They won't say is cheating on you with that lady sitting over there. So imagine if your husband, no, it wasn't a fair. I'd rather I hear it from him than getting to it from somebody else. I think getting to it from somebody else is more painful. Yeah, with him being honest, it will be okay. If I hear it from somebody from the public afterwards telling me, he had a relationship. So yes, I know. He told me and we've resolved. Or I would find a way of, life happens. But unlike me getting it from somebody in the public and confronting him and him saying, did happen, I think that could lead to an instant separation.
That's a betrayal.
Yeah, so that's an instant betrayal. So tell me, you telling me about it means that you want us to sort it out, and there's hope for us. Unlike me hearing it from somebody and you're not telling me, wow, that means that we have issues in our home.
Yeah, things like that. That's what I'm saying. You risk it all, and it could go either way. It could break up the relationship. It could break up the marriage. But if the marriage is gonna pull through, obviously you have to go through the process of healing, the resentment, the forgiveness, the anger, the distrust, the rebuilding of trust. If the marriage is gonna work out, you'd have to go through that process. But that's a risk. I would rather take that risk than live with a lie. I think it's not fair on yourself. It's not fair on your partner either.
Yes, like I said, sometimes it's because of the backgrounds we come from. I would give an example of, long time you find that in homes, a father would have 3-4 sets of children from different women, and I always say that. Or when we're teaching couples, we always tell them, remember, long time ago, people were never married for the sake of love. It was always an arranged marriage. Oh, ni mwana ko kala from Korea. There's like a girl from the 3 houses there, and from a good home, a reputable home. I think let's pick from her and bring. And there was no communication. And the man would always agree with the parents, and they would get mad. And mind you, there was no love. There was no love. There was so many ways of communicating. There's no love whatsoever involved. And you find that eventually he does find somebody who he loves, and he starts having that affair, and then finds and he has another affair. So you find that the children get to know mom is not happy. And sometimes, actually, the fathers used to take their children to go and see their girlfriends, and they'll know, oh, there's another family there with another set of children, We've had former ministers, or sorry to say, but people that we've known who have had like 4 different wives, and all of them know that, oh, that was from that wife, and that one. And sometimes they even have the same name. He goes, the name children with the same name. And you find that when a child gets married, grows up and gets married and starts his home, he feels it's all right. I mean, why should I just stick to him? Or why should I just stick to her when I can have somebody else? Why would, like people always say, why would I have T-bone every day? And I can go and have chicken elsewhere, and I can go and have beef elsewhere. And children pick that up. Now, when I talk about transfer of spirits, remember, when we become one, when we become intimate, we become one. And then you go and become intimate with another person again. Meaning whatever spirit, we have got one spirit. Remember, we are one. Everything that we carry is one. Then you go and pick up another spirit. And then you bring that spirit. And do you know whether that spirit is actually loyal to you, or she's also got another partner? So imagine how many people. So you find that when you come into a home, you ask yourself, why do we have this poverty going on? Why is there a lack of finances? It's because you picked it up from somewhere else. Well, if it was just me and you with this covenant that God has given us, we are moving on. And this covenant, remember, God's promises are yes and amen. God's promises for us are prosperity. But you brought a strange anointing within the house.
That's why it's important to rely on the word of God, because our own standards are flawed. If we follow our forefathers and those people who went before us, they did the best they could, but the word of God remains. If my standard as an individual is the word of God, I know that I'm accountable to one God who sees all things and knows all things. It will influence my decision, to influence my thoughts. And even as we bring up children in the home, I'm not doing it so that they can see me. I'm doing it because I'm accountable to God. So whatever I do, it's because the one who's watching me is watching me. So that influences how then I treat my wife, how then I treat my children. And the hope is that as children see that, okay, dad serves or subscribes to this God, then they too will follow that, as opposed to me pretending to be somebody I'm not when the children are there, and then becoming someone else. The word of God is a standard which has been helpful for us. Yeah.
And I always say children mimic their parents. I'll tell you something perfect. Have you ever noticed a child picks up the first words from what they hear, right? So answering your question, yes, children always mimic their parents. So children do what they see. If it's all right for mom to be beaten, it's all right for me to be beaten in my home. We've heard of people that we've counseled people who say, he doesn't hit me, and we've kind of said, what do you mean he doesn't hit you? No. He must hit like angome for what? Because they actually saw that was right in their homes. Their dad would come and hit mom, and it was okay. So that was their sign of, oh, mom hasn't gone. She's still here. She still enjoyed this pain. So this is a sign of dad showing that he loves me. Well, it's wrong. So yes, children mimic and what they see. So it starts from a tender age. So what the foundation is in your home is actually,
something she just reminded me of is about children mimicking parents. Somebody here has got a bit of road rage, and so whenever a fellow driver would cut in, she'd say things like idiot, idiot, and our youngest would be in the car. And one fine day, we're driving along. I said, "Mommy, Daddy, look at these idiots!" And it's a young chap. And I looked at her. I said, "He doesn't know what the word means. He thinks idiot is a fellow driver."
Yeah.
So that's an example of what children, they do what we do. It's easier to teach by doing than saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'll tell you a perfect example. Sorry, but he's a bad cook. My children, on the other hand, all of them are perfect cooks. I mean, I've seen mommy in the kitchen. I mean, yeah. So that's a perfect example, right? Yeah.
Regarding ambiguous loss, I'm hearing this term for the first time, but it's real. I mean, she has sat me down and told me, I feel like we're drifting apart. You're not there. You know, there are times when maybe for weeks you're engrossed in your work or school or, you know, some
Or
project.
church.
Or even church, yes, even church. You know, you're just focused on one thing and you come home, you're tired, you just sleep. You say, you just do the rituals. Hi, how are you? You know, you're not engaging with her or the other way around or with the family. It has happened. And I remember the last time she sat me down and said, I feel we're drifting apart. And you know, it like catches you like, what's she talking about? Because you don't realize it's happening. You're living life because you're focused on this thing. And sometimes your friend is even almost in tears and says, look, I feel like we're living together, but we're just sharing a room. We're sharing a house, we're sharing a home, but we are not relating. And we sit down and say, what's happening? And you know, it really helps to be open. And she speaks like that. And the last time she said that, I was like startled. I was spooked. I didn't know what was happening. And I let her give me an example of what she felt. And she gave me an example of what has been happening in the home, which I was not seeing. And I apologized. And I made a commitment to, and I asked this, look, whenever you see this start to happen, let me know. Don't let me drift off far away. If you see me exhibiting signs of being distant, please let me know. And we talk about it, and we try and even deliberately create our time, like special time. We used to go we haven't been for a meeting, breakfast meeting.
Maybe we were there last week.
That was different. Okay, yeah. So we used to do this often, like breakfast meeting at least once a month, where we just the two of us would sit and talk about where we're headed as a family, and you know, like a business meeting. And we stopped having those for a while because you know, life happens, children, school, blah blah blah, church, everything happens, and that's something that we should have even mentioned when you asked earlier about what has kept us going. You have to be intentional about your relationship. It's not going to be an autopilot. Just the fact that you've been married 20 years doesn't mean you're going to be married for another 20 years. Every single day you have to put in the work. You have to invest in each other. You have to listen to each other because we're changing. The way I was, what I knew, what I felt last year is not the same way I was and feel today. I'm changing. So as I'm changing, my wife is also changing. And it means the relationship is changing. So if the relationship is changing, then we have to keep on changing together. So it's a question of putting in the time, listening to one another, planning together. Yeah.
And you know, one funny thing about it is that people always, when you talk about marriage, what is the first thing people think about? People think about sex. It's always, when you talk, now they're married, people think, now we can have sex. Well, sex is not the pure one. When you tend to grow older in your relationship, and when you get into a relationship, you find that it's a list of the marking on that little tick or on you, because what you find is that you want to be like intimate with your partner, as in you want to talk to him, and you really want somebody close by you. And unlike this fluctuation that we had before we got married, that, oh, when we get married, it's going to be sex, 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 sex. I even tell people, if you're going to get married to somebody and you're going to think it's just sex, you're going to have a shock of your life. Because when you get married to this person, you get married to their behavior. You get married to their family. You practically change a certain part of you, and it's not sex, because truth be told is that you grow older, and when you grow older, that's the least thing that comes your way. So so sometimes it's just that intimate part about it, and you find that the drifting away is because he's at work, like I said. So if he's at work almost 24/7, when does the sex part come in? So if your marriage is based that, oh, I got married because of sex, then you end up going astray, because my marriage was sex and not, I didn't love this person. You know what I mean? So the reason I'm getting married to him is because I love him. Yes, and the sex part, but I love him. But remember, at the end of the day, you've got this company you're working for, and sometimes they need you all the time. And you find when you're getting home, you're tired. And you have to understand that he's also human. He gets tired. So in terms of the drifting apart, you find that maybe I'm at school, or maybe there are times when I get engrossed in my books. And when he's coming home, I'm reading. Because when he's not home, I've got my other chores. And like I said, I've got all these Bibles around me, and I'm studying. My best time to study is at midnight. So I'm studying from midnight to 5 o'clock in the morning. And at 5 o'clock in the morning, he's getting up to go to work. So that time, and then maybe he's also studying a course at uni, right? So he's studying his books, and then when he's coming home, he has to finish this assignment that he hasn't done from work. And after that, then he's in a church meeting, and then by the time you realize that you are sleeping, and you're getting up the morning, and then you're psyched, then you say, hey, we become strangers in our own home. Yeah, so that is reality. And then if like I said, you get married for the wrong reasons, I say, no, I got married to him because I thought I was going to be having sex every day, and look, it hasn't happened within 3 months, and I'm going. So you have to be, there's a lot of reality in a marriage, and a lot of people have got a wrong concept of marriage.
Yeah, it's a lot of self-sacrifice.
Yeah.
Really. Marriage really teaches you who you are. There's certain things that are in you which only come out because you cannot pretend. You can only pretend for so long, maybe a few hours or a few days, I don't know. Because you're with this person 24/7. When you wake up, before you brush your teeth, the person's in your face. There is no see you tomorrow. You are constantly with one another, and it teaches you, well, if you're game, it teaches you patience, it teaches you understanding, it teaches you forgiveness, because you're constantly letting go. If you're clashing all the time, you start finding out, why are we clashing, and you start letting go of certain elements which are not necessary, certain things that you don't need, because if you want the marriage to survive, there's certain things that you must say goodbye to. I can't think of an example right here.
You kill a lot of yourself.
Yeah. So it's a lot of self-sacrifice, and in that self-sacrifice, you find you actually become a more mature person. You become a better person because you're able to accommodate more than you would as a single person. My name is Musonda.
My name is Musonda.
And this is how we met.